My name is Raymond Karchevsky. I am a living Christ. As many of you have noticed, I have curtailed, cut back greatly my videos, public videos. I have, because of the conditions of our country and our world, the manipulations that have occurred, the political, the financial, the phony health scares, which have created a platform for lockdown, martial law, and ushering in a new world political order, a satanic order, the same order that civilized mankind has been under sway since the beginning of time. That of the political and religious influences of the intellectual, satanically ruled, indoctrinated intellect, the conscious mind. Now, for those of you who are aware of my articles and my videos, understand that I propose a balanced life, which unfortunately is not what we have now. We're as unbalanced as we can get. Most of you are dependent upon the advice of experts, political experts, economic experts. They can create legislation which makes it a crime for you to live naturally as God meant you to live, without masks, without fear of arrest, should you get closer to another human being than 6 feet. Do you understand how insane those laws are, and the effect that they have upon freedom, upon sovereignty, upon common sense? You're all affected by it, and you reject it blindly. You deny it. You live in a state of denial, but you keep following the orders that come down to deprive you of your liberty, of your freedom, of your personal sovereignty. Keep in mind, you are the sovereign. You are the creator. You have created government. You have created religion. These are all man-made organizations. Nothing godlike about them. They're authoritative, totalitarian type operations. They dictate rules, regulations, behavior modification through media is primary amongst them. They need the media to spread their propaganda, to deprive you of your liberty through words. Keep in mind, you are the creator of government. That what you have created, you can uncreate. That's the fact. It's all a fiction. It's all a fiction in your mind, because you're under mind control. Now, I have suggested that all those who understand my 25 years of input into the internet of truth, which is widely suppressed, censored by the organizations that control media, control the internet. They don't want you to know that I exist. Therefore, I am persona non grata in hell. Now, we're living in hell. Hell is based in ideation, the duality of ideation. The thought of truth, the thought of authority, the thought of government is not the same thing as what is. Understand? But we live in a life of pretense, pretending that the ideas that we hold are true, and we worship ideas. We worship false gods. Truth is what is. Truth is all there is. The idea of truth is an idea that is an illusion, a fiction, the product of your imagination. Unfortunately, that's the fundamental foundation of civilized life. And you're all subject to it. Most of you by your own consent, but those who do not consent are threatened and coerced with threats of arrest, violence, and death. That's the fact. Now as I have said, invite all to join me on Patreon.com, a private platform where truth can be said, but it's going to cost you a subscription fee. And those who have followed my videos must make up a decision for yourself as to whether or not my videos are worthwhile. You understand, you're bombarded with propaganda, that which is less than truth, the fantasy, and thus you live according to that limited way of life, and you are subject to the restrictions that are imposed upon you coercively. That's your life. That's your hell. Now, we're heading for an economic crash, the crash of the system itself, of government, the election. Shortly coming, it's a farce, an illusion. It's only an idea that you hold in your head that is fortified and reinforced by government sponsored media. Get it straight. You are the government. You created the government. It's there to serve you, not for you to be its slave. I've been calling for a boycott for years now. Falls on deaf ears because you're scared. You're children. You have been trained to believe and to depend. However, look at what that dependence has brought you. Look at the deterioration that you face. The risk of losing everything, losing your home, losing your jobs, losing your ability to support yourself. All that is fiction to begin with. Understand? Money's a fiction. Jobs are a fiction. They're all ideas. And they're ideas that you hold in your consciousness. So, you want to be free? And rise above duality. Rise above the conscious intellect of duality, of opposites, of violence, of conflict. Because that's the kind of world you have created for yourself. And that's the only kind of world that you believe you can have, that you're entitled to. So you try to cut corners. You try to create illusions that are based in conflict, and to extrapolate that conflict, you benefit at the risk of somebody else's loss. That's civilized life. That's hell. I offer you truth, what is, freedom, sovereignty. All you have to do is understand that you are the creator. You are the God of your own quality of life, and therefore you are responsible for it. Now, can you live with that? Can you adapt out of the hell that you're living and free yourself? If so, join me. Let us change our world by boycotting the present hell we're now living in, instead of voting, consenting, giving them power, giving Satan power over you. Satan is nothing more than God of duality, of intellect. And you have been trained to accept that as a young child. That's the purpose of education, formal education. From kindergarten up to postgraduate days, it is the changing and the developing, the fashioning of a mind, impressionable to ideas imposed upon it. That's called culture. You live in the American culture, therefore you are automatically placed in conflict with any other culture who is not American. That's the world hell that they're trying to create by a world government, by a satanically ruled world government based in imposition of authoritative rules and regulations based in words, based in definitions. Keep in mind that's all fictional. It's not real, except that you believe that it's to be real. Nowhere on the internet will you hear what this living Christ has to say, because there's not too many living Christs around who are willing to stand up and speak. Oh, there are others who are men and women of truth. They have reservations. They have fear. I have faced the conflict of satanic rule, and I have dispelled it. With 2 trials, where they tried to put me away for 40 years, then convicted the illusory person, who is not me, but a fiction created by government through birth certification. And I called them on it. I called their bluff, and they folded. After being convicted, they reversed their decision to incarcerate me, because they had no right to do so to begin with. It was all satanic deception that rules most of you. I have brought this to your attention. Most of you aren't ready for it. You're still children. Well, you're about to suffer the consequences of never growing up, never being the man, you or woman, that you have come to this earth to be, to understand. That's your spiritual question that must be resolved. That's what this life is all about. The resolution of duality, of conflict, to become clearly the creator of your own life force, can find that only on Patreon.com. Well, where else? And that is why I have stopped making these videos and posting publicly the articles. And what will be, will be. Currently, after more than a month of open subscription to Patreon, I have 5 subscribers, 5 of the worldwide count of billions of people. Does that tell you something? If not, you're beyond my help. You're beyond any help. The decision is yours.